What about the
But still,
responsibility piece?
Um,
From what I'm gathering and what he said about responsibilities, they went to trauma. So it sounds like his responsibilities as far as working through his trauma, and he's spoken before about the fears he's had with if he does go into a union and now everything is on the line. And I can, depending on how, if they structure prenups and stuff like that, but if I don't got all my ducks in a row as being able to keep this in my pants and do the right thing, I'm not willing to take that leap yet. And I think that correlates to how a lot of men see marriage. You got the aspect of sexual mastery that a lot of them know. They have come into these relationships and they literally fell in love. And when you say that word fall, it's inadvertent, it's unexpected. We just be running the streets for a very long time, and then all of a sudden you meet a woman that has your heart, and now it's like, I got to get my ducks in a row. And you got to kind of do that on the field. It's like you building a plane while you're trying to fly it. So you got the sexual mastery piece, you got the financial piece, which obviously Cam got. All he really is worried about at this point is, I don't want to go into wedlock and not be right just yet. So the respect, I think, has to come after the responsibility. And a lot of women will look at that and have said that that's a cop-out, when that's a very real factor for a lot of men. I'm somebody who, by the time I met my wife, I had put in intense work to handle those responsibilities of trauma, sexual mastery, get my finances order, which have continued to blossom as a result of being with my wife. But these are real things that men got to consider, that we're often demonized for and told, well, you should just be ready. We the ones that got to take care of business. We got to be the ones in most cases that got to guide the ship. We the ones that have to heal a lifetime of moving and shaking, thugging and ducking. I never even said thugging and ducking, but we got to figure that out. So when we bring these things to a woman that we are with, they got to understand, we're not saying it's going to guarantee we never go there, but these are things that you got to really appreciate about what a man, especially a black man in a position of power, has to do to get to the point to feel safe in marriage, because it's not built to be safe for us.
I think that's a very valid point, because a lot of women's main rhetoric is come to me healed. Mm-hmm. And right now you have a man saying, I know myself. I don't have a lot of things in pocket, and there's certain things that I would want to make sure is in pocket. There's things that I'm conscious of that I come with that can be perceived as baggage. So women will say, come to me healed, but the desperation in a woman will say, I can fix you. Come with your baggage. But in the same breath, they'll have an issue with the fact that they have not done all the work necessary to evolve the way that they say they've done all the work to evolve. So I think it also comes down to women having to believe who a man says he is when he says he's that person, as opposed to trying to convince him otherwise.
And then I know we're going to keep moving. One question for you, though, based off our own experience. I know a lot of women will hear him say and look in the camera and say, baby, you the peak, and think he's running game. Mm-hmm. Do you feel that that is a reality, that a man can truly view you at a peak without wanting to cross that threshold, based on what you've experienced with me, I guess? And it's low-key kind of a trick question, but go ahead. What you got?
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it.
Let's see if you get it.
You're asking, can a man have you as a peak without actually marrying you?
Yes.
For me personally, that's such a trick question.
Mm-hmm. Why?
Because yes, and
that should culminate in some form of matrimony.
In some form, because I think when we use the word marriage, it goes into,
and we're gonna get into that too.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't think that there has to be a government documentation to say that you are my peak, but I do think that there has to be some level of a gesture to show what your actual intention is.
And that's why I asked that question, because of course what we have led to matrimony. You was the peak from damn near the first conversation we had. Like there was something in me that knew you talking to your wife, bro.
Yeah.
And initially it wasn't even a romantic pursuit or nothing like that. It organically unfolded into that. But from the first time I saw you, like I've spoke about on the podcast, there was something there. My subconscious, unconscious mind, my spirit was saying, it's something about this one. And you was already the peak, not just at that juncture in my life. You were the peak of feminine energy in any aspect of what I've ever experienced in my life cycle. So women will hear that say, it's no way you could be the peak. The peak has to lead to the promise. But a man has to be able to ingratiate himself into the stage of realizing I'm in my peak. I'm with my MJ. I'm with the greatest I'm going to ever have. And a lot of times we are rushed once we advocate or express that, we are rushed to the promise. And there's things that we got to galvanize and downloads that we got to have during that process of realizing I'm with my peak. Then if we don't, we'll mess the promise up.
Yep, yeah. I agree.
You having fun?
I am. Uh-oh. That's why we lost sound.
I'm not getting married. Then what you would say?
I would ask you. I would say, right now in this moment, are you?
You're saying I'm answering your question when you gave me the scenario. If she comes to you and say, I will feel more respected. My first question will be, by who? She would say, by me. I'm giving the confirmation that there's nobody higher than you. You're peak. Tip of the spear.
Right. So what if she says
it ain't going higher than that.
But what I'm saying is that's how you feel, and that's okay. And I understand how you feel, and I know how you feel because we've talked about it. And also, this is how I feel. I would feel like the peak if I were actually married.
That's cool. Well, I ain't getting married. Now what?
But is that ego or is that heart?
No. Since we want to do scenarios,
yeah,
I'm not getting married. Then what you would say?
I would ask you. I would say, right now in this moment, are you speaking from a space of protection because I've triggered you in a way? Or are you speaking from a space of you really don't want to marry me?
I'm speaking on how I feel right now.
Okay, so think about it. Then I don't want an answer right now.
Say less.
That's what I would say.
Thank you.
Because I can't bully my man.
I think it's important to acknowledge that's manipulation.
She said it at the end. She said, I can't bully. So what you're suggesting is him being bullied into something he don't want to do. You got it.
Exactly. That's manipulation because when you get to a space of changing your tone of voice and you know what I'm saying? And then you get to a space of, just saying, well, it sounds like you're triggered. You can't give an ultimatum and then police how a person's responds and then tell them that they're now sounding like they're triggered. This entire interview, you can tell Cam went from very calm to, listen, baby girl, let me tell you something. That is a man showing you that he is overstimulated by the fact that you continue to push him on a topic that he's already told you that he's happy about. So the same happens in a relationship where we have women who acknowledge a man has said that they aren't ready to be married. And instead of just accepting that the man isn't ready to be married, they push. And it's like, well, so you don't want to marry me? That's something else that Sarah said in a video. That's also manipulation because a man saying that he isn't ready to be married doesn't mean that he isn't that he doesn't love you enough to marry you. It means that he is not ready to be married. And so instead of trying to force a man to give you marriage and pushing the topic and giving ultimatums and saying things like, I'm not going to have sex with you until we're married, especially if that's not even your religious belief or you aren't even practicing celibacy, I think you start to get into the realm of manipulation, whereas you can just date intentionally and choose a man who has a mindset for marriage. I don't understand the purpose of dating a man who's very open about the fact that he has a lot of resistance towards marriage. And then you get into this relationship for a certain amount of time, and now you want to convince him to be married, as opposed to just acknowledging who he's already told you he was. There are men out there who are ready for marriage, who have already rearranged their consciousness and their life and their emotions for marriage. I think it says something. I think it says a lot about women who, instead of preparing themselves and creating their energy and their life force and their spiritual maturity and their emotional integrity, instead of curating that within themselves so they can attract the type of man that would actually want to marry them and that they'd want to marry, they rather go towards the man that is the complete opposite and then guilt them into marriage and then make him the bad guy when he doesn't acquiesce. That sounds like a psychosis to me.
And going from the last part of what you said, women love projects. I'm with a married woman. There's always going to be some type of new thing being added to the house, to the kitchen. What you call that stuff up there? The what?
Oh, the herbs.
No, not the herbs. The stuff that you wanted to do something with. It's a special.
Backsplash.
I didn't even know what backsplash was, bro. So it's always some type of new project, and it's part of y'all creative force that's satiated every time you get to bring something into fruition. So a lot of women will hear this and see project instead of the person that's being presented to me authentically. Whatever conversations Cam and Jazz is her name, right?
Yes.
Whatever conversations Cam and Jazz may have had about marriage, it ain't just happening now because Sarah brought it up on a podcast. I'm sure these conversations have been happening from the time they realize, oh, it's something here beyond just sexual energy. And we don't know what's going on in their household. According to Cam, every time he's pressured about this or challenged about this, he says the same thing. She good. And we haven't really heard too much from her end on her not being good. She's had moments where she's talked about, the new baby and certain things that people extrapolated out. But we've never heard from the source that her being his peak and the way he loves her right now is not enough for her. So that project piece is big. And then I think on the man's end, as far as the resistance, if I'm already giving you the best of me, if I'm already advocating for the fact that you are my peak in my world, you are my number one person, and you may bring to me what the public got to say, you bring to me the fact that your respect would increase. How could your respect increase any more than me already offering you all of myself?